Kenan Shalom. I want to continue sharing with you the contrast in the leadership of Saul and David. And last time I shared with you two things, and I want to continue sharing with you. The third thing that we learn from the leadership of Saul and David is that we must be people, as pastors, leaders, we must be people who seek God's heart and not to impress people. We must be people who seek God's heart, not our image or reputation, and not to impress people. In 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 30 to 31, we see when Saul disobeys God and Samuel corrects him and rebukes him, Saul responds very lightly and he ignores the Lord's correction. Instead of repenting, we see him asking Samuel in 1 Samuel 15 30 to 31 to come with him, because that would spoil his image and reputation in the eyes of his leaders and in the eyes of the people. So Saul was more concerned about his image and reputation rather than what pleased God and what displeased the Lord. He responds very lightly. While in 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 13, 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 13, when David sins against Bathsheba and Nathan comes and rebukes him and corrects him, David responds by saying, I have sinned against the Lord, and he begins to repent. Saul was more concerned about his image reputation, while David was more concerned about what pleased God. And therefore we must be people who give priority to what pleases God and what displeases God, more than our image, more than our reputation. And we must be quick to repent whenever God corrects us. When God shares His heart with us, we must respond positively. The fourth contrast we see between Saul and David's leadership is that we must be responsible for the people whom God has given to us. Our staff members, our team members, our leaders, our church members, whether in the church, whether in the ministry, whether in our business, whether in our workplace, we must be responsible for the people whom God has given to us. In 1 Samuel chapter 14 verse 29, Saul had brought trouble to the land, to the nation, where even his own men, his own warriors did not have food to eat, and they did not have weapons to fight war. They did not have weapons for the battle. While in 2 Samuel chapter 23 verse 15 to 17, what did David's three men go into the enemy line, cross the enemy line, and they go into the enemy territory, and they get water for David to drink, because David had desired to drink that water. And when David sees what his men had done, he pours the water as an offering to the Lord, and he says, how can I drink this water for which my men have risked their lives? For which my men have risked their lives for. So on one side we see Saul, who was not even concerned about his own men. On the other side we see David, how concerned and how he took care of his people and how he cherished his leaders. We must be responsible for the people whom God has given to us. Our people, our leaders, our people who are helping us, they should never feel that we don't care for them. They should never feel that we don't care for them. We must cherish them, and we must take care of them. And the final thing, we must have servant's heart, not for people to boss around. We must have a servant's heart, not a boss heart. In 1 Samuel 20 verse 24 to 30, we see Saul, when David was absent at the table during the new moon feast, and Saul asked his son Jonathan, where was David? And Jonathan says that I allowed David to go to his father's house in Bethlehem. And Saul goes nuts. He goes bonkers because he was paranoid about David. And he immediately starts abusing his own son Jonathan for taking David's side. So here we see Saul was a man who was very controlling by nature. He was controlling by nature. He was dominating by nature. Where he wasn't allowing David, he wasn't giving space to David. And while in 1 Samuel 25, 15 to 16, 1 Samuel 25, 15 to 16, we see how David and his men protected Nabal and his entire household. So here one side we see Saul, who wanted David to be with him, to serve him. And he wasn't allowing David to live a free life. He wasn't giving space to David. He wasn't giving freedom to David. He wasn't giving space to David to be who he was supposed to be. Controlling by nature. And as pastors and leaders, that's what we must be careful of. The people whom God has given to us, if they have a particular call, a particular ministry, we must give them the freedom to serve God while they are with us. To be who God has called them to be. And not to control them, not to keep them with us. So Saul was pretty a boss kind of leader, while David was a servant leader. He was serving Nabal. He and his men served Nabal and his entire household by protecting them.